Namaste students, Khusro with you. I, JVN Dr. Narendra Singh Shekhawat, Assistant Professor cum Clinical Consultant, Proctologist in Department of Salya Tantra, Faculty of Ayurvedic Science, Jyoti Vidyapith, Women's University, Jaipur. In previous class we discussed about disease of kidney and ureter, then urinary bladder, then urethra. Now today we will discuss our disease of we start with disease of prostate. Before that, we will discuss the anatomy of prostate gland. So let's begin student with anatomy of prostate gland. It is an accessory gland of male reproductive system. It is composed of glandular tissue embedded in fibromuscular stroma. It surrounds the first 3 centimeters of the urethra. This is called prostatic urethra. In this picture, as you can see, right side diagram, normal prostate, anterior to the rectum and anus, and downward of urinary bladder, and posteriorly to the pubic symphysis. Okay, student. In left side diagram, as you can see, the enlarged prostate is called BPH, benign prostate hyperplasia. Okay, students. Uh, Definition: prostate is a fibromusculo-glandular structure situated between the neck of the bladder and external urethral sphincter, and surround the prostate urethra. It is conical in shape, means prostate gland shape is conical. Prostate gland has 3 surfaces: anterior, posterior, and 2 inferior lateral surface has two surface, 2 view. Prostate gland has 5 lobes: and anterior, posterior, median, and 2 lateral lobes. Size: about 3 centimeter vertically, 4 centimeter transversely at the base, and about 2 centimeter anterior posteriorly. Okay, students. Wait. 15 to 20 gram. Note: adenoma usually occurs in medial and lateral lobes. It never occurs in anterior and posterior lobe because they are mainly of fibromuscular tissue. and devoid of glandular structure. In this picture, as you can see the dimension of prostate gland. In this way, as you can see the parts of the prostate gland: median, anterior lobe, ejaculatory duct, lateral lobes, two, the two lateral lobes, prostate ducts, prostatic urethra, urethral gland. And the formation of the gland with the zone, peripheral zone, central zone, transitional zone. Parts of peripheral zone is 70%, central zone 25%, and transitional zone 5 to 10%. Isn't it? In this figure, you can see in the peripheral zone, transitional zone, and urethra. Zones of prostate gland. You can see fibromuscular stroma, transitional zone 20%, urethra, central zone, peripheral zone. Okay, student. This is the some part of anatomy of prostate gland. This session is powered by digital version 2.0 Jyoti Vidyapeeth Women's University Jaipur. I hope you are satisfied with this digital session. If you have any doubts and queries, please mention in comments box. I will resolve it soon. Thank you, students. Namaste, students. Kusro video. I, JV and Dr. Naren Singh Segat, Assistant Professor, Department of Shalya Tantra, Faculty of Ayurvedic Science, Jyoti Vidyapeeth Women's University, Jaipur. In previous classes, we discussed about anatomy of liver and disorders of liver. In today's class, we will discuss about portal hypertension. In this diagram, you can see the hepatic portal circulation. Heart pumped blood into abdominal aorta and proper aorta to hepatic artery to liver, liver to hepatic veins via inferior vein cavity drain to left atrium of right atrium of liver. This is the hepatic circulation of as you can see. Uh, Splenic vein and superior mesenteric veins drain blood into hepatic portal vein and it drain into liver. Yes, students. Sustained elevation of portal pressure more than 12 mm of Hg is called portal hypertension. Normal range of portal pressure is 8 to 12 mm of Hg. A rise in portal pressure stimulates portal systemic circulation. Portal vein carries 75% of blood flow to liver with all nutrients to maintain its integrity and give 50% oxygen supply to liver. 25% of hepatic blood flow given remaining 50% of oxygen supply to liver. Portal hypertension causes suspensive portosystemic venous collateral information, altered intrahepatic circulation, and increased splenic blood flow. High pressure portal blood is diverted via coronary, short gastric and esophageal veins into azygous veins. There is increased portal resistance and increased portal blood flow. Increased resistance may be pre-sinusoidal, sinusoidal, and post-sinusoidal. Uh, these are the causes of pre-sinusoidal, extrahepatic and intrahepatic. Extrahepatic portal vein, splenic vein thrombosis, intrahepatic schistosomiasis and sarcoidosis. Sinusoidal causes cirrhosis, hematochromosis, Wilson disease, congenital hepatic fibrosis. Post-sinusoidal is Budd-Chiari syndrome, congestive heart failure, veno-occlusive disease also. Causes of causes of portal hypertension. First, prehepatic. These are the prehepatic cause. B hepatic. These causes mentioned in the hepatic and post-hepatic causes are these. Sides of porta systematic collateral, as you can see, lower end of the esophagus between left gastric and short gastric veins with azygos. Umbilicus between paraumbilical vein and anterior abdominal vein resulting in caput medusa. Retroperitoneum, bare area of liver, lower end of the rectum. These are the sides of porta systemic collateral. This is the porta systemic collaterals. As you can see in the diagram, this one is one, two, three, and bare area of liver also. Okay, students. Photo showing caput medusa. This is a photo medusa. Presentation means clinical features. Triodoportal hypertension for esophageal varix, splenomegaly, and ascites. These are the common and main triodo portal hypertension. Jaundice features of encephalopathy, recurrent infection, coagulopathy, hepatorenal syndrome. Investigations: liver function test, ultrasound, ultrafetoprotein, MELD scoring. This is patient with ascites with portal hypertension. Doppler imaging, HVPG, hepatic venous pressure gradient, splintography. Now management. For portal hypertension, first general measures anemia due to corrected to be corrected. Anemia to be corrected. Nutrition supplementation, injection vitamin K, 10 mg IM for 5 days. Specific measures. Treatment of esophageal varix, prevention of hepatic encephalopathy, treatment of ascites, measure of reduced portal pressure, surgery, port systemic non-selective and selective. Transjugular intrahepatic port systematic tips. This is the transjugular hepatic port systemic stents are typically placed by an interventional radiologist under fluoroscope guidance. Access to biliary is gained, as the name transjugular suggests, via internal jugular vein in the neck. Once access to the jugular vein is confirmed, a guide wire and introducer seat are typically placed to facilitate the shunt placement. This enables the interventional radiologist to gain access to the patient's hepatic vein by traveling from superior vena cava into the inferior vena cava and finally the hepatic vein. Once the catheter is in hepatic vein, a gauge pressure is obtained to calculate the pressure gradient in the liver. Following this, carbon dioxide is injected to the locate the portal vein. Then a special needle known as calpinto is advanced through the liver parenchyma to connect the hepatic vein to the large portal vein near the center of liver. The channel of the shunt is next created by inflating an angioplasty balloon within the liver along with the tract created by the needle. The shunt is complex by placing a special mesh tube known as stent and endograft to maintain the tract between the higher pressure portal vein and the lower pressure hepatic vein. After the procedure, fluoroscopy images are made to show placement. Pressing the portal vein and fill a car after match. Drug to reduce the portal pressure like propanol, nadolol, isosorbidide, liver transplant. Final treatment is liver transplant. This pic is showing the tips trans Infradics tips process. Okay, students. This session is powered by Digital Session 2.0 Jyoti Vidyapeeth One University. Hope you are satisfied with this digital session. If you have any doubts or queries, please mention in comment box. I will resolve it soon. Thank you, students.